kids, how are you doing? How's the life post boards?
Ma'am, we are
I'm
doing.
fine.
ठीक है. See, mostly people talk about, what was your schedule, how many hours did you put in, etc., etc. We'd
Yes,
like
ma'am.
to go a little more reflective about the whole thing and talk about what were your challenges, how did you overcome them, then how was your mindset throughout the process,
Yes, ma'am.
and what were the things that you were doing on a day to day basis other than studying to keep yourself focused to the goal, because board exam preparation is not just that 1 month of your board exam, it's an entire year in the making. So how did your process change throughout? So that's another thing that you can focus on. And then how's life beyond that? What are the goals, what are your aspirations, what are you doing now? So Gauri, if there is a particular strategy that you utilize, you can put that, you can talk about that. Is there anything specific that you would want to mention?
Yes, ma'am. It is. I'd say that the only strategy that I used was focus.
Hmm.
I preferred quality over counting the study hours, that
Hmm.
how many hours I was studying. It's like what when I'm doing something, I'd focus on that. If I'm studying, that I would just focus on studying at that time
Hmm.
wholeheartedly, so that even if I'm studying for 2 hours, I would keep the study quality at that level that I'll be able to cover the 4 or 5 hours syllabus in that 2 hour time.
Hmm. Right.
And
ठीक है,
besides
ma'am.
that,
Think we can hit record. Let her continue, Sanjani. Ma'am, we'll hit record and then I'll take it up from there. You can continue talking. You were saying something.
Okay, okay. No issue.
and be- besides that, I'd say that board some students are like, oh, we just have to study and we are not going to participate in other activities. So personally, I'd say that extracurricular activities hold the same weightage as your academics do, because they also help you to build many other qualities which can't be measured just by the board exam marks.
Hmm.
So I myself participated in many events, and yeah, at one
And did
time,
very well too.
if I was, and
Yeah.
yes,
Hmm.
somebody, and I would say that someone whom I value so much gave me an advice that if you have to be that extraordinary person, then you have to put extraordinary efforts. So yes, that
Well said.
was my mantra for whole of the year.
Hmm. That's wonderful. Yeah. So welcome to Toppers Talk. And I'm hoping that you're already basking in the glory of the amazing results each one of you had, and the milestones that you've achieved, and the bar you've raised for everybody else to follow into your footsteps. So, since Sanjeevni, you were talking about focus, that was your mainstay during the entire process of preparing for board exams. And you also spoke about how extracurricular activities shape your personality in a holistic manner, and there are certain things that mere academics is not going to hone for you. You need to put in that extra effort if you want to stand out amongst everybody else.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm picking up from that. And Gauri, I have a question for you. What do you think was that one thing, that one strategy that worked in your favor?
Ma'am, that one strategy which I would like to advise to everyone else was that you should be consistent and regular in your studies, because
Hmm.
consistency always outpaces raw talent. We know
Yeah.
that if a person is talented and he is not focused, then he can't do that well, which another person who is not so talented but is consistent in his studies can do.
Hmm.
Ma'am, we should always cover up our homework, projects, and assignments on a regular basis so that they don't get piled up at the end. And
Yeah.
because then it will become a blunder. And when you start preparing for the examination at the end, it will be like a nightmare. And the student,
Hmm.
whosoever he or she is, wouldn't be able to understand like where to begin from.
Right.
And also, I would like to say that if you study 6 to 7 hours in one day, and the next day you study only 2 to 3 hours, then that isn't useful. But if on an
Hmm.
average you study 4 or 4.5 hours every day, then that's gonna
Hmm.
make a huge difference and it's gonna
Right.
really improve your marks. So
Hmm.
my only mantra for the year was that I was consistent in my studies. Plus, I
Mm-hmm.
also practiced each and every sample paper and competency paper available at the site because they don't only give you an experience of what the pattern of the board exam is, but they also contain
Hmm.
few important questions. And the method of practicing them is not like you are taking one paper and solving it for 5 to 6 hours, but you should set a time limit so that it gives you a real lifetime experience.
Right. That's wonderful. So, other than consistency and the strategy that you mentioned, that was very related to exam pattern. What do you think that was one thing in your personality that you developed throughout the year, in your class 9 and 10, that enabled you to have this confidence while sitting for your board exam? What made you confident?
Ma'am, first of all, we should refresh our mind and we should not only focus on studies, we should focus on other activities as well. Like, personally, I joined a badminton academy for just two
Hmm.
hours each day so that I could freshen up. And
Mhm.
because when you're focusing only on the studies, then your brain gets tired and you're not able to do that well in the examination.
Right.
So that extracurricular activity and hobbies was also one thing which I followed throughout the year. And in
Hmm.
ninth and 10th, I also learned that except from studies, you should also participate in some activities which could boost up your knowledge and not only the academic knowledge related to, like we did SCPW also in class 10th,
Hmm.
related to other home sciences and cooking and gardening as well. So you could also participate in those activities which could freshen up your mind.
Right. That makes sense. So, Kana, I understand that in classes 9 and 10, because your school schedule also supports a lot of subjects, you're studying about 6, 7 main subjects, and then there's a scope for curriculars, extracurriculars, and SUPW and the works. How does this focus shift when we're doing very expert um, and very focused, very laser sharp studies, because you're studying only three main subjects plus a language for your class 11 and 12. So, how
Yes,
does
ma'am.
this strategy change for you when you're sitting for your class 12 board exams?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, after class 12th, my approach has completely changed. It has become
Hmm.
more conceptual oriented and disciplined. Because in
Hmm.
class 10th, we have only some of the topics and multiple subjects which became interesting while studying. So
Right.
we on in class 12th in class 10th we mainly focus on completing the syllabus and practicing multiple questions so we can
Hmm.
easily score there. However, in class 12th I realized that there is there is no there is no use of like repeating the concepts again and again if you don't understand them properly. So I made myself to understand concepts deeply way far better than I do in 10th. And
Hmm.
instead of simply memorizing them, I started using study techniques like active recalls and self-regular testing and planned revision schedules, which helped me a lot. I also learned the importance of study quality rather than long hours of study. The mindset has become strong and it was influenced by our teachers, which make the biggest difference, ma'am. Ma'am, I would
Yeah.
also like to thank my teachers for their support. And ma'am, I would mention that ma'am Khushbu ma'am, when it comes to economics, Khushbu ma'am gave a new dimension to economics. It was no longer just about the demand and supply or market structure. She taught us
Hmm.
the she taught us to be good human beings and not to focus on the materialistic aspect of life, but always
Hmm.
be a good human being. I still remember every day I used to take multiple doubts and countless doubts from her, and she
Mhm.
patiently explained every doubt with crystal clarity, and her faith in me and constant motivation kept me going. And I still remember on our economics board exam, just 5 minutes before the exam, she made us revise certain concepts which came exactly same in the boards. That was quite surprising, and it was her experience. And ma'am, when it comes to accounts, no better teacher than Manju ma'am can teach us accounts. She taught us
Hmm.
how to solve the most complex questions in the most easiest way. She taught us
Mhm.
the act of smart work and managing things. She always
Hmm.
emphasized don't focus on the quantity of questions. Always go for the quality of questions, which will help
Right.
you to score better. and
Hmm.
give us the exact points where we can lose marks and where we need to focus. And whenever I feel distracted and or overwhelmed, Smita ma'am was one I could always rush to, and she could always help me and give me the right path which I have to follow. So without the support of my school and my teachers, this journey would have been much difficult. They made me much easier. They made this much easier for me.
They put you at peace with a lot of things so that you can go and focus solely on what you needed to focus on. So
Yes, ma'am.
quality over quantity seems to be the consistent theme here. That's what all three of you have spoken about, being consistent, focusing on quality work more than quantity, or the number of hours that you're putting in. So
Yes, ma'am.
another question that I would want to pose to Sanjeevni: do you recall any setback during your entire board year? If at all, if you'd like to share and how you overcame it, it'd be wonderful.
Mm. I would say that, ma'am, yes, there was definitely a point that the biggest challenge for me was balancing academics with everything else happening in the school along with my health. There
Hmm.
were moments when I wondered that if I should just step back from some activities and
Mm-hmm.
be at peace. But
Mm-hmm.
still, with the support of the teachers and of course, ma'am, you also supported me a lot through this journey. I continued and managed my time better. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing that helped me a lot was, and a lesson that I got was to handle pressure instead of running away from the things. We should just face them and just solve the problem.
Yeah.
Looking back at that, I feel uh, balance made the journey more enjoyable and taught me skills beyond academics could do. So yes,
Right.
ma'am,
So
that was
handling pressure gave you also a sense of achievement, I hope.
yes, ma'am, definitely it did.
Yeah. So, drawing from that, Gauri, did you at any point of time feel a challenge or pressure because of all of that was being piled up on you?
Yes, ma'am. I felt the preparations for the pre-boards a bit challenging because our syllabus had been completed just 10 to 15 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to appear for the examination for the full syllabus. And then I felt that I'm exhausted and I won't be able to do it. Then I approached my teachers and parents for their support and guidance. And with their
Mm-hmm.
support and guidance, I could make the pre-boards a good hit. And also, I would like to say that the pre-boards are really very helpful because they not only give you an experience of how the examination pattern is going to be and how you're going to sit in that 2 or 3 hours examination, but it also gives a kind of a pressure on the students that okay, you have your exams now and you should start preparing, so that they are not in a habit of procrastination and they keep on revising their topics side by side. So the main challenge was that pre-board examination, and at times I also felt that now it's done, I'm exhausted and I'm not able to do anymore. But then all my teachers and mentors, they supported me.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So, Kana, I'd like to ask you,
Yes, ma'am.
feeling pressure around the board exams is very common.
Yes,
I'm not sure if it's natural, but it's very, very common. More so for people who have been achievers throughout their school journey. If you've been among the top three throughout your school, if you've also been doing curriculars, like three of you have been very, very active and involved and very visible in the school landscape. One, do you feel more pressure because there are a lot of expectations from you? And if somebody feels that kind of pressure, not
yes,
just because of the board exams, like a child who say scores in the average bracket, but somebody who has been an overachiever all their lives, and along with the load of their expectations from parents, from peers, and from teachers, what tips would you want to give to such children to handle and manage that pressure, like Sanjeevni and Gauri talked about balancing it out?
yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
What
to be
tips would
honest,
come handy? Yeah.
yes, ma'am. To be honest, ma'am, pressure was definitely there. like
Hmm.
because boards exams and expectations are always higher in board exams because we have been preparing so hard.
Hmm.
So ma'am, whenever I felt stressed, I focused on the process rather than the result. I always believe in the fact that journey is more beautiful than the destiny. So
That's beautiful to say. Yeah.
instead
Hmm.
of thinking about the final marks, I concentrated on completing my daily targets consistently. Ma'am,
Hmm.
breaking larger goals into smaller achievable tasks made the journey much easier for me and much more manageable. And um, like I used to set daily targets. If not 100, we can't do 100% every day. But if we
Hmm.
are hit 80, 90%, I still feel
Hmm.
I'm feeling good.
Hmm.
So I believe that if we are completing our daily targets, so that would help us to reduce the pressure. And ma'am,
Hmm.
I- also, ma'am, before the boards, if we solve multiple sample papers and give mock tests, that
Hmm.
also help to tackle stress at that time because they give us the actual clarity how we would be facing such questions in boards. Ma'am,
Hmm.
so sample papers helped me a lot.
That's wonderful. Okay, so to sum up what all three of you have spoken about pressure, one would be to break the entire thing into smaller tasks. Another would be maybe revision and repetition of board like scenarios and simulation of those subjects, like Gauri mentioned for pre boards. And then another thing would be approaching people you are around, talking to your peers, maybe talking to your teachers, talking to your parents about the pressure that you're feeling. It may not directly help with scores in the board exams, but it definitely vents the pressure that you're feeling, helps you gain more calm and confidence in your capabilities, and then give it a go again. So, just adding my two bit over there. Um, all right, to wrap things up, I would want each one of you to mention something that changed your outlook towards life. And also, please share what your plans are for the next 2 3 years. So Kana, in your case, I would want to know about what colleges are you considering? Have you secured admission yet? Are you in the process of doing it? For Sanjeevni and Gauri, I would want to know what subjects you have taken up. What are your aims for beyond class 11 and 12? How are you preparing for all of that? And then how just sum up your journey with the school, and then maybe talk about these things. How do you look at life looking going forward from here? So Kana, would you
Yes.
like to start with that?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, since I
Yeah.
come from a business family and I see
Mhm.
my father doing business, all my family members are engaged in business.
Yeah.
So I have always been inspired. I also want to be a great businessman like them. So for my journey ahead, I'm pursuing an integrated BBA and MBA program from
Hmm.
GJU Hisar so that
Okay.
I don't want to go out because I want to learn the real life skills. I want to join the
Hmm.
business now only and learn the skills and study alongside that.
Hmm.
So I have filled the application form for GJU, ma'am,
Okay.
and the merit list will be declared soon. I hope my name will be there and I'll get the
Of
seat.
course, your name will be there. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's
Ma'am,
a very very I'd say unique way to approach your career.
yes,
A lot of people, especially who get ranks, they tend to go in a different direction, maybe, take up a college outside and then go about it. But I really like the understanding that you have here, that you would want to learn the tropes of business while being in it and then
yes,
doing your degree on the side. That's very
yes, ma'am.
interesting, and best of luck to you. I'm
Thank you.
very, um, I'm very, very inspired by what you said there.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Means a lot.
Wonderful there. ठीक है. Gauri, what would you want to say? How have you planned the next 2 years? What are you looking at? What subjects have you taken up?
Ma'am, I've opted for the medical stream and I've joined LNHR right now. So I see myself as a doctor in the
Hmm.
coming years. And for the next 2 years, I am planning to prepare very hard for the NEET UG 2028 examination. And I
Mhm.
hope that I get a good medical college in Delhi or Chandigarh. And if not
Mhm.
that, I get a good medical college in Haryana.
Mhm.
Ma'am, even in my family, my mother and father, they both are doctors. So my dream of becoming a doctor was set from, class third. And because I knew that if I'd be a doctor, it will give me great satisfaction because I could save lives of even those people whom I don't even know. So being a doctor and saving their life and helping them out and getting their blessings, that's,
Hmm.
I mean, a great satisfaction and happiness for me. So that's why I pursued for being a doctor.
Yeah, wonderful. So, from your experience, uh, being in a household where both of your parents are doctors, of course, you understand the challenges also that come in with this kind of a profession. You have to be on call at all times. You have to be there for people, even beyond your own personal commitments, your fatigue, your stresses of the life, and even general joys and happinesses of the life. So I'm hoping that you've got that download from your parents, understanding what kind of a life that a doctor leads, and of course, your parents are super supporting of you. So
Yes,
best
ma'am,
of
I
luck
do
and
understand.
kudos for taking on such a daunting task.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Sanjeevni, what subjects have you taken? What are your plans?
Ma'am, for now I have opted for the medical stream
Hmm.
and preparing for the NEET examination with all my efforts. And I'm just going to give it all for the NEET UG 2028 examination.
Hmm.
And well, the reason for the same are, if I'm going to talk in a broad context, there are basically two reasons. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, is I'm interested in this career because I always enjoy learning new things and giving
Hmm.
myself challenges and then finally completing them. I always
Okay.
enjoy learning about the human body and science, and that I like the idea of being in a profession where learning will never stop and your knowledge can directly help people. That's the second main reason why I'm pursuing this career, because at last I will be able to help people around me.
Hmm.
And yes, that's what's motivating me to prepare for my NEET examination. And if I were to sum up my journey for the school, as you said, then I describe it as a journey of consistency and self improvement both. I wasn't perfect. I can openly say that I wasn't perfect, and I believe nobody can be perfect. And
Right.
some subjects challenged me more than others many times.
Hmm.
But what helped me was I didn't run away from them. I kept showing up, trusted my teachers that what they are telling us to do is absolutely correct and we
Hmm.
should follow their guidance. That's what I would suggest the students who are going to appear for the board examinations this year too. And I
Hmm.
followed my daily targets, preparing a to-do list not only just for the academic tasks but also for your hobbies, like include your hobbies and that little task that you want to do in that day in that to-do list in the morning itself. It might sound a bit immature, but I love watching Shinchan as a cartoon, and yes, that was even included in that to-do list so that I can just freshen up my mind.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was participating in school activities, spending time with my family and friends a lot, and even made time for things I enjoyed. So, looking back, one thing I could say for sure is that I'm not just proud of the result, but of the habits and mindsets I have built along this long way journey. So,
Hmm.
yes, ma'am, that's it.
That's such a beautiful thing to say. And no, finding time to do things that fill your heart, like watching Shinchan, they're not childish. They're very childlike, keeping the child inside of you alive and kicking, full of energy. So, very, very best of luck to you on your journey ahead. And we've already heard your message, Sanjeevni. Gauri and Kana, if you'd like to, in one sentence, give a message to your juniors who will be sitting for their board exams in the coming year. We can start with you, Gauri.
I would like to say that don't just get pressurized that, oh, it's my boards. Try to
Hmm.
give your best, and then it doesn't matter what score you get because you know that you have prepared for it and nobody else can compare for that.
That's wonderful. Kana.
I believe that, ma'am, pressure is unavoidable at the time of boards. Ma'am, but panic is optional. Ma'am, if we trust our preparation and stay consistent throughout, pressure can actually bring out the best of our performance. Because in
Hmm.
pressure, we need to work hard and develop more. I feel so.
Yeah. Okay. One more thing. So this is the preparation leading up to the board exams. Sometimes, it so happens that one is not very comfortable with the kind of scores we get, because our assessment of how we wrote the answer scripts is going to be very different from what the report card reflects. In that case, we have an option with our board, and almost all the boards actually, where you can get your papers rechecked or reevaluated. So if somebody is opting for that option, what are the things that you think that child, that student should keep in mind? In what cases do you recommend going in for a reevaluation?
Yes, ma'am.
Kana, you might want to take that up. Hmm.
Yes, ma'am, I believe the decision to apply for re-evaluation process, ma'am, it should be based on a careful assessment rather than
Hmm.
emotion, because we might feel emotional at that time. Ma'am,
Hmm.
first we should ask ourselves whether there is a significant difference in our expected performance and the marks awarded to us. Ma'am,
Hmm.
if we have consistently performed well in our school examination,
Hmm.
understood the subject thoroughly, and we genuinely feel that the marks do not reflect our performance, then
Hmm.
re-evaluation should be considered. At the same
Yes.
time, we should make this decision after consulting our teachers, because teachers have the best understanding of a student's capabilities. And in my own case, I have discussed it with Anu ma'am because I felt my marks were lower in English. So I
Hmm.
discussed it with her, and she thoughtfully advised me to go through the re-evaluation process,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
the result eventually justified that decision. Ma'am.
Yeah.
However, I feel re-evaluation should not be seen as a shortcut to higher marks. It should be well
Hmm.
informed because the marks can decrease also.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a caveat there.
Yes, ma'am.
Ori, any thoughts on the process of reevaluation? And if somebody is considering it, do you have anything to add to what Kana already mentioned?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I also opted for the reevaluation because I had cross-checked my examination answers. Means when I came back home, I had cross-checked it with my question paper, and I was
Hmm.
expecting a score between 97 to 99. So when I saw the report card, it was below my expectations. Then I had confidence in myself, and then I
Hmm.
opted for that rechecking and revaluation. So I would like to advise is that first of all you should consider whether your exam went well and smooth or it went the other way. Now
Mhm.
when you get your report card, if it is below your expectations and you're 100% sure that your exam went well, then you should surely opt for reevaluation and rechecking. But if
Mhm.
but if it went the other way, then you should accept the original result, but not by getting disheartened, but with a positive mindset.
Yeah, positive mindsets is a great thing to have with you. Yeah, Sanjeevni, another question that I have from you is, how important do you think marks are?
Well, ma'am, board exams, marks are definitely important because they reflect the academic preparation and hard work, but
Right?
they are just a specific arc of the whole film of your school journey. They are not the whole film. So they don't tell the complete story. Qualities like communication, leadership, resilience, cognitive abilities, creativity, what kind of teamwork capabilities you behold, they are reflected through many different experiences. And
Mm-hmm.
I certainly assert the very fact that marks are one indicator of the performance, but they
Mm-hmm.
don't define a person's overall potential, what they behold.
That's a beautiful thing to say. They don't hold the entire picture. There's more to you than just the board certificate of statement of marks that you hold in your hand.
Yes.
So we're wrapping this thing up. I would want you to add any messages that you would want to give, anything that, any parting words that you'd want to say. It could be a message, it could be anything that you would want to share here. The floor is open. Kana, you'd want to go first?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
I
please.
would like to conclude in one line, like an
Hmm.
advice to my juniors, ma'am. Success is not about never failing. It is about never stopping after a failure. So they should keep going and keep on progressing.
That's a beautiful thing to say. Thank you, Kana.
Thank you, ma'am.
Gauri, pleasure. Gauri?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to advise that my juniors that just chill. It's your board examination and it's not the end of your life. So
Mhm.
keep on studying as well as participating in extracurricular activities. It's just the 10th boards.
That's nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Sanjeevni, your parting words.
My biggest advice would be do what the moment demands. If it's time to study, give it your full attention. If it's
Hmm.
time to rest or spend time with family or friends, be present there too with your whole of your heart. Balance
Hmm.
and consistency can definitely take you to a long way. And one thing I would like to re-mention, it takes extraordinary efforts to be that extraordinary person.
It does,
Thank
definitely
you.
does. And all of you are here are extraordinary in your own different senses. So thank you for
Thank
this
you.
wonderfully engaging session, children. I wish you the best of luck for years ahead and the life to come. I hope that you find happiness, you find success, and you find much more than what you want in your life. And what I my parting words to you would be: keep in touch, keep coming back, come and share your happinesses, your milestones, and also come back and talk if you need a friend to talk to. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining in
Thank you
today.
so much, ma'am. These words really mean a lot. Thank you, ma'am.
It was lovely having all of you here.